The hall was silent. Only the faint creak of wooden chairs broke the stillness, as restless bodies shifted in uneasy anticipation. Ceiling fans turned lazily above, moving the thick August air, but nothing could stir away the tension that hung in that room. At the front stood Major Sarah Collins. Her back was straight, her uniform perfectly pressed, the medals on her chest gleaming faintly under the lights. Each one was a story of courage, sacrifice, and pain. But today, those medals weren't being celebrated. They were being questioned. For weeks, whispers had followed her, rumors that her service record was false, that her medals were undeserved, that the stories she told of the battlefield were fiction. And now, those whispers had turned into a tribunal, not official, but just as cruel, filled with officers, veterans, and townspeople who demanded the truth. A man in the third row leaned forward, his voice cutting through the air. "If those medals are real, Major, why are there no comrades here to vouch for you? Why is there no proof?" Sarah's jaw tightened. Her heart pounded, but she didn't speak. How could she explain what she was forbidden to say? Her missions had been classified. The kind that never make headlines. The kind where silence meant survival. She looked across the room. Faces stared back. Some skeptical, some pitying, a few openly hostile. Even fellow officers avoided her gaze, afraid of the scandal. It wasn't the first time she had faced doubt. Being one of the few women to earn decorated combat honors meant fighting 2 battles, one on the field, and one within her own ranks. But this moment, this was different. This was personal. A retired colonel stood up, medals glinting on his own chest. "These honors," he said coldly, "are sacred. They represent blood and sacrifice. If you wear what you didn't earn, Major, you insult every man and woman who did." His words hit hard, but Sarah didn't move. When she finally spoke, her voice was steady, soft, but sharp enough to cut through the noise. "I know exactly what they represent, sir. I was there when they were earned. I was there when my comrades didn't make it home. I don't wear these for vanity. I wear them for the ones who can't." For a moment, silence blanketed the room. But then, the whispers started again. Quiet, poisonous, spreading like smoke. A woman from the back stood. "Words, Major. That's all they are. Anyone can tell a story. Where's the proof?" That word, proof, echoed in Sarah's chest. She had proof. It was locked away in classified files, buried in operations that officially never happened. She had scars, yes, but scars had no paperwork. She had memories, but memories could be called imagination. Her lips parted, searching for words. But before she could speak, the double doors at the back of the hall opened. 2 Secret Service agents walked in, their expressions unreadable, and behind them, the air seemed to shift, entered a man whose presence silenced the room. "The President of the United States." Gasps rippled through the hall. No one had expected this, not in a small-town community center, not for an unofficial hearing. But there he was, the commander-in-chief himself, walking with quiet authority toward the front. Sarah froze. She hadn't seen him in years. Not since that mission. The president stopped just a few feet away. Their eyes met, and for a heartbeat, the world fell silent. He turned to the crowd. "I hear there are doubts about Major Sarah Collins," he said, his voice calm but commanding. "Questions about her medals, about her honor." No one spoke. Every breath seemed held captive. He stepped closer to Sarah, his gaze dropping to the medals on her chest. Slowly, he reached out, his hand hovering above one, the Distinguished Service Cross. "I was there when this medal was earned," he said firmly. "I know, because she saved my life." A stunned silence swept through the room. The president continued, voice stronger now, every word deliberate. "Years ago, during an operation that will never be recorded, our convoy was ambushed. I wasn't president then. I was a senator on a diplomatic mission. We were surrounded, pinned down, outnumbered. Hope was gone, but Major Collins took command. She led us out. She carried the wounded. She carried me. I'm standing here today because she refused to leave anyone behind." The words hit harder than any accusation could. The colonel who had spoken earlier sat frozen, eyes wide with disbelief. The woman who demanded proof lowered her gaze. The president looked back at Sarah. His expression softened. "These medals are not lies. They're not vanity. They're reminders of courage, of sacrifice, of the price she paid so others could live. And I will not stand by and let anyone tarnish her name." The hall was utterly still. Then, slowly, one person began to clap. Another joined. Then another. Until the entire room erupted in thunderous applause. Sarah's eyes glistened. She stood tall, refusing to let the tears fall. The years of silence, of being doubted, of carrying a truth she could never speak, it all lifted. At last, they knew. The colonel bowed his head. The woman sat down, eyes wet. Every whisper had been replaced by something new, respect. The president placed a hand on her shoulder. "Major Collins," he said quietly, "this nation owes you more than it can ever repay. And as long as I'm in this office, your name will be remembered, not with doubt, but with gratitude." The applause grew louder, filling the hall, shaking the walls, drowning the years of disbelief. And in that sound, Sarah felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: peace. Not pride, not victory, just peace. Because she hadn't fought for medals. She hadn't fought for applause. She had fought for the soldiers beside her. For her country. For the quiet truth that doing the right thing doesn't always mean being seen. Now, she had been seen. And the truth, long buried, had finally found light. When the president turned to leave, the crowd parted in silence. As Sarah stood there, the weight she'd carried for years finally lifted. The rumors were gone. The shame erased. What remained was honor. Raw, unshakable, and real. Outside, the sun dipped low, spilling gold through the open doors of the hall. Sarah looked up at the light and allowed herself a faint smile. For once, the world finally knew what those medals truly meant. If this story moved you, if you believe in honoring those who carry their courage quietly, then don't just scroll away. Like this video, share it, and subscribe to Classified Courage.